Hey Photo Pips, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. Now this is my second part of how I'm editing my raw images, and in this segment I'm going to be showing you how I use Luminar as a standalone program to edit them raw files. Now I've got a belly full of tea, I've cleaned my glasses and I'm ready to go. So the first thing we need to do is get that image up and running. So Luminar, I have it already fitted into my toolbar, and it's just going to open up in the library setting, which is ideal for what I want. And it's on the picture because that's what I was last looking at. But these are all the images as you first open up Luminar, much like it would be if it was in Lightroom. You've got Fuji's X-T3 here at the top, and you've got the date that the images were taken. And if you scroll down, and they were all taken in April 2019. There's 829 photographs. And these are the other, if we look along this side, look, you can see that there is more options for me to choose. There is when I took the Fuji X-T2 with the 100 to 400 mil, but we're gonna go for that same picture that I did in the last video, which is of the seagull, this one. So I'm just going to select that, then I'm going to go over to where it says edit, and we're going to edit this. Now what I'm after is that same sort of photograph or end result as I got using the three programs. Luminar was just going to be used as a plugin. Started off in Adobe Camera Raw, then I went from there to Photoshop, then I went from there to Luminar 3, then from there I went to Photoshop, then back into Adobe Camera Raw, then finished off in Photoshop, giving me the result I was after. Now, for me to do an image like that, it would probably take me somewhere between 8 to 10 minutes, just cracking on. Where with this, I can make a template or a preset, and then that will be just a click and it'll be done. First things first, I'm going to actually crop this to start with, because what that's going to do is not give me as much to play with. So the loading times should be quicker. And I'm just gonna nick a little bit from here. See this pink house? This is where I actually did the crop last time. I'm just gonna sort of share it out, make it a little bit square, make it nice. Now I did actually, when I did this images, I put the sun in the wrong place, which was a bit of a shame because I did put it there and it looked much better there. It really did. Just want to make this crop a bit cleaner, take this boat out so we can go back and crop again. Now you see how the old image is back, so much like the way Photoshop works, it's still there, it's not a problem. So I'm going to just take that in from there, push that in, and then I'm going to go across just to finish that off nicely, just because that boat looked a little bit messy, and I'll use this house instead of the pink one. But as you can see, I've made a clean crop, and there it is. So the next stage is I'm going to clean this line up. Now I've never used this before, so I can only say, am I doing this right? I'm going to try and use the erase tool first, just to see if that works, because I remember using the erase tool way back in the Photoshop days, and you had to have a layer underneath or a layer on top. But let's just have a look, see if it does it. I'm going to press there, and then I'm going to get my my shift key and press there. And I'm actioning that. And let's just see what happens. I've never used this. Wow. No way. I am impressed. That was better than Photoshop. I don't care what anybody says. That was better than Photoshop. Right, so Now I also would like to take that away. So what I probably should have done was, see, it's preparing again. So everything's prepare, where in Photoshop, it's off you go. But what I'm going to do this time is select all the items, just like I did when I was using Photoshop. So I'm just going to go in with a Wacom. I'm just going to draw on that section. I'm really, really pleased with that. And then I'm just going to look around, again, using the space bar, just to clean these bits up. And then at the end, I'm going to action that, and it should, see that there's a little bit there that I was not too happy with. And instead of like, oh, look, I missed that, but luckily I know where everything is. And I'm just going to get rid of these bits. Right, so I'm going to zoom back out and I'm going to actually action this now. So it's just erasing, it's looking at the bits that I've done, and let's just see. Now that is good, but I do not like where that seagull was. So I'm just going to have to go back in and erase again, or do I clone? This is the thing, what, you know, maybe I should have took a little bit more from that. I think that was the problem, was being a little bit too gentle. I'm going to take a little bit more around the edge and make sure everything's, yep, I'm happy with that. So take a little bit more, maybe that's what I should have done. I was probably bitting a little bit. Yep, that's got it, that's got it. So you'd look away, you'd look back, and it is gone. It really has gone. So that's that stage. So we're at that stage, and now I want to do this eye. Now I want to make this eye brighter. So let's have a look, shall we? We're going to zoom in. I'm going to zoom right in. And that's crazy. And I want to add a filter. Now, I want to make this brighter. In Photoshop, you can use the adjustment layers, but can I do it just by using an exposure, or do I use a highlight and shadow? I think an exposure. Let's have a look now. I'm probably doing this completely wrong, but the filter amount is at 100%, but now I need to set my exposure. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to select a brush and I'm going to paint in. Then everything else will go back dark and it'll just give me this. In a way, I like this, but am I losing any detail? I do not know. Probably what I should have done was added the colour, because I do want this to be yellow, but I can actually you can use it as a mask, a blend. Wow, look at this. So we've got blend modes as well. So I'm going to put that as a screen. It's a little bit lighter. But what it's going to do by using it as a blend mode is it's going to bring some of that detail back through for me. But I also wanted a colour. So I'm going to just add colour. So I'm going to set my amount and I'm going to set my tint. It's not making realistically any difference, but I think I could have actually done this without using the exposure because I've got brightness. Let me just turn that off. It's giving me a little bit of yellow. blend that as screen, overlay, soft light, hard light, color. I think I like screen. Maybe lighten. This is what happens. So now I'm going to take my brush and just paint. Make sure I'm on paint here at the top and not erase, and then everything will go darker. And that's just going to give me what I need there. And I can change the amount. And the brightness. Let's have a look. Wow. So if I want to see what it was like before and after, I just hit that eye. And there it is. It's just catching up. It is. There's a very small lag, very small, but yeah, that's it. So we've done the eye, we've done the cleanup. Now, just add a layer, then you can use the preset that you need to. So I'm just going to take this way down because that is just nuts. Now we've got our sky enhancer here, so I'm going to whack that up a bit. That's taking the place of that new texture, the new texture slider in Adobe Camera Raw. That is going to do basically the same thing. And we're going to change our top and bottom. Quite like that, a little bit darker, but then I want this lighter at the bottom. Also what you can do with this is you can change how it looks. So you can set, so I want it a little bit lighter at the bottom, so I'm just going to send it up there. There we go. I like that. I do like that. So I also would like to put a little bit of a graduated filter to this, just to darken down that sky. So we're going to add a filter. Find my grad. We're going to work just on the top and want my exposure to be slightly darker. Then I'm going to create how I want it. There it is. Now the other thing I love about this is the actual vignette, because what we can do with the vignette. By the way, these stars are the ones that I've saved to my favorites, the ones that I tend to use the most. So we're just going to put this vignette on. This is where this beats Photoshop once again, because you're not stuck to that middle section. You can actually place your vignette where you want it. Now for me, I'd like for this to be more the central area and darkening this section down. So I'm just going to place the center there. Put the amount in, put the size in. Okay, put the roundness in. We don't really want it round at all. And then put some feather in. And you can see the lighter and the darker. And that's just bringing you in nicely to that picture. So now I want to add my sun rays. Just for the sake of the fact that this needs to be exactly the same as the last one, I'm going to place my sun rays where they were on the last image, which was here, but I did prefer them there when I did it before. So we're just going to pop them there, and I will work this in. As you saw before in the original video, this was all erased away. In fact, I'm just going to leave a little bit in on this. That's what I wish I'd have done on the Photoshop one, and then work in the radius of the sun and the glow amount, and the warmth, just to match the color balance of the whole picture. Right, so that's now that section done. So now what I need to do is a little bit of dodging and burning, where before I went into Adobe Camera Raw, used some brushes, used the circular, remember the rectangular filter that I used. So instead I'm going to have to go in there and add another filter, and we will use a dodge and burn, if I can find it. And there it is. So I'm just going to highlight this. You see all that stars there? When you select it, just hit that star, and that's going to change it to that orange, so you can pinpoint it straight away. But before you know it, you're going to have so many of them just pinpointed. Now dodging and burning, it's crazy. So you start painting, but what you do up here is you've got lighten, darken and erase. So I want to go in and I want to lighten his face, remember, around his beak area. So I'm just going to zoom right in, and let's get this brush size again. I'm just gone over to the keyboard using the brackets and just put a bit of line up there. I think it's just a little bit slow because of the fact that I'm recording this as well, which is a shame, because it is normally a lot more positive than this. So I'm actually just going to put this in, and you can set the amount as you go along. Anytime you're not happy with anything, you can go back up to your history tab and literally just step back, step back, step back, step back, or you can just Command Z and that's going to delete that image for you. And you can go back to any of the adjustments that you've made during your editing and take them away, or reduce them or add them. Like the sky one, can add another sky, which is going to just make that over the top crazy. I do not like that, so for me that's a delete. So you just press the X, it's gone. I want to save this image to my desktop. Import image, export. So let's have a look what we've got here. We're looking at the original size, a JPEG. We can change the name, we can put in tags, where, I don't know why it wants to save it there, I've got no idea, but we'll just select that desktop, get it saved. Quality, we want 100%. And that is it. I don't know what it's doing now, but it says it's exporting 0 of 1. I was actually waiting for the line and there was no line. Here it is. There it is. So what I'm going to do now is just open this up in Photoshop. Do you know what? I really like that. Is the quality as good? I do like it though. There's not a lot in it. I think if I sat there and tweaked it to the max, I could actually get it as good as anything I've done in Photoshop. The Photoshop version, the one I'm using, is the original, the one that I had printed out, the one that I love. And the reason why is because that for me is the final image. So I'm going to put them both in Photoshop and let you see which one you think is better. So this is A and this is B. Which one of the two do you prefer? Is it A? Or is it B? Right guys, so the verdict is, what is the verdict? The verdict is, can I use Luminar as a standalone program to edit my files? Yes, of course you can, because it's all there. The thing you don't want to be doing is thinking how Photoshop is so brilliant and so powerful that this £600–700 program compares to an £80 program or a £60 program, but the options are there. You've got the Luminar Flex, which would allow you to use it as a plugin only. You've got Luminar 3, which is the whole standalone system. We've also got to look at Aurora HDR. That's something else we need to look at, and many other things. So if you've got any questions whatsoever, please leave them in a comment and I'll try and find out the answers for you. Now, if you're interested, get over to the website. There's a link in the bottom and you need to download the trial. Give it a go before anything. Give it a go. Then if you decide, yep, this is great, I'm going to go for it, take the link again, but when you check out to pay, use the code CPP. That's going to give you an extra $10 off the purchase price, which is going to help. It's going to help you out. So thank you to the guys over at Luminar for giving me that code. Just whack CPP in the voucher code box and your job's done. I'm going to try now and every week get some sort of video up and running with a basic tool from the Luminar toolbox. So whether it be the crop tool, the way we can use that, or maybe it's going to be the graduated tool, the way we can use that, or just the way we can select things inside Luminar 3. With that said and done, guys, there's one thing left to do, and that's get out and shoot. You know, you want to. Cheers. See you soon.